Hi everyone, Dave here and welcome back to The Complete Guide Part 9. And today I present to you Formula 1 2000 by Studio 33. Let's get straight into the arcade mode, which we have actually got for this year. We can race at Indianapolis, Montreal or Interlagos. And let's see what car we can pick. We can go in the BAR, the Minardi or the Arrows. Oh dear. So we start at Indianapolis, which of course was the first time this was raced in 2000. And let's go, 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 as Murray would say. So this is the arcade mode. As you can see, the colours seem to be a bit pasteled out. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, let's hear for the excited commentator once more.
Ready, go!
Don't you just love arcade commentators? Anyway, so it's the usual fare. You've got a ticking time bomb at the top of your screen, which you must get to the next checkpoint before it runs out, or your car blows into a million pieces. No, not really. Okay then, as you can also see, I'm not doing very well. I have to apologise because my PlayStation 2 controller has a weird problem sometimes where it actually pulls to the right for the first few laps until it sorts itself out. I think it's sort of sorted itself out now. Yes, as you can see though, I've lost a huge amount of time and my ticking time bomb has gone red. I've got to cross the line. Oh, and I've made it. Fantastic. Okay, onwards and upwards, and we go now to the controller configuration, which once again is now fully configurable, so you can have your right analog stick as your acceleration and brake if you so desire. Okay, let's continue along these menu screens. I have to say the menu screens in Formula 1 2000 are very, very poor indeed and very difficult to get to grips with. Let's look at the Grand Prix you can race though in Formula 1 2000. We can go to the Australian Grand Prix at Melbourne. Then we can go to the Brazilian Grand Prix in Interlagos. Our next track is the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola, which may make a return to 2017. Then we've got the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, followed by the Spanish Grand Prix, Carmen Jorda's home track of course, at Catalunya. Then the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. Our next track then is the Monaco Grand Prix at Monte Carlo. It's a very nice TV screen that you get of the track preview there, very nice indeed. Anyway, next one is the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal, followed by the French Grand Prix at Magny-Cours. Our next track we can race on is the Austrian Grand Prix at the A1 ring. Then it's the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim, the original circuit. Then the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. Our next track is the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps. And the next one is the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Our next track that we can race on is the United States Grand Prix for the first time at Indianapolis. And then of course we've got the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. I do believe there's one more. Yes, the Malaysian Grand Prix at Sepang. Fantastic. Okay then, here's the teams and drivers we can drive for. Mika Hakkinen or David Coulthard of course for McLaren. We can have Michael Schumacher or we can have Ruby Barrichello for Ferrari. Our next team is Heinz Harald Frentzen, or we can drive as Jarno Trulli for Jordan. Then we can have Eddie Irvine, or we can have Johnny Herbert in Jaguar, or we can have Ralf Schumacher, and of course the new boy Jenson Button in the Williams. Or we can drive as Giancarlo Fisichella or Alexander Wurz in the Benetton. Our next team we can drive for is going to be Prost with John Alesi, and his teammate for this year is Nick Heidfeld. And the next team we can drive for is Sauber with Pedro Diniz, and his teammate is going to be Mika Salo. Okay, on to the next team we can drive for in Formula 1 2000. It's Pedro Della Rosa, and his teammate is going to be Jos Verstappen, yes, in the Arrows. Okay, on to Minardi now with Marc Genet, and his teammate is Gaston Mazzacane. And then last but by no means least, we've got BAR with Jacques Villeneuve, the 1997 world champion, and Ricardo Zonta. So there's the teams and drivers. Now we go on to the race setup. Okay, let's look at the weather now. You can have it on cloudy, real, rainy or sunny. Okay, so now on to the AI difficulty, which really once again for this year doesn't make a lot of difference because catch up is still in this game. You can have it on easy, normal, hard or expert, and we're going to leave it on easy for the moment. And now we can have grid assist either on or off, And now we can have the lap count, either at 5 laps, 10 laps, 20 laps, half the race distance or the full race distance. Also, as you can see, you've got options to switch the fuel on or off, and now on to the flags options, which means you can have the flags either just as flags or full penalties, which means if you skip the track too many times you get a 10-second stop and go. And you can have the failures on, off, full or partial, and also the damage can be off, just tyre damage, or full damage, which I'll explain the difficulties of that later on. And you can have the braking assist either on or off. Okay then, let's get past all the boring stuff and get on with the actual car setup. You can have the rear downforce either at medium, low, minimum, or all the way up to maximum for tracks like Monaco. And the same for the front downforce. Okay, you can have the suspension at soft, medium or hard. Then we go on to the brake balance. Of course, you can adjust that forward or rearward depending on whether you are locking the brakes. You have the gear ratios at short, very short, medium, long and very long. Okay, we next go on to, of course, the tyres. You can have the tyres on hard or soft tyres for the year of 2000. You can have the gear selection at auto or manual. And of course, you can have braking assisting on or off and steering assistance also. Now also you can change the fuel strategy before the start of the race. As you can see, we've got a 1-stop strategy, but you can increase that to 2 and even 3 stops for the whole of the Grand Prix. Okay then, so once again it's time for the Monaco test. Michael Schumacher is currently in pole position with David Coulthard in 2nd place, as they're just going around now on the formation lap. It's time to start the Grand Prix, for the lights to go out now. I'm currently in Jarno Trulli's Jordan in 22nd place as the 5 lights go out, and it's time to say go, go, go. Well, get off to a pretty decent start, I have to say. Coming down now to the first corner, I've got a Prost off to my right and a Minardi, and I managed to get through quite easily, and oh shit, it steers like a brick again, just like last year's game. Yes, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it steers like you're trying to steer through porridge. Unbelievable that a whole year has gone past and they didn't manage to fix the handling of the cars. Oh look, did you see the cameras flashing in the grandstands there? That's a very nice effect. As we come in now into the casino section, well, the graphics, I have to say, are very, very nice indeed. There's oh god, I've hit the wall. There's very, very little pop-up, and it runs at a very nice frame rate. Very little jerking as we go through the tunnel now. Let's see what the tunnel looks like this year. Well, it's very, very dark, as you can see. There's a few lights off to the left hand side, so you can just about see where you're going, but yes, very dark in the tunnel. As we come out now and we've accelerated forward now, I'm still in last place, as you can see, and oh shit, this is another problem that happens with this game. If you hit the brakes for too long, you spin out. Okay, let's go to the glorious cockpit view now. Only it's not that glorious, because unfortunately you're so low to the ground you can't actually see where you're going. Now, this was a cheeky move by the developers to try to reduce pop-up by decreasing the draw distance that you had on the circuit. Let's go to some of the other views now. As you can see, you've got the standard chase view, and now it's time for me to come in for my pit stop. Let's see what the pit stops are like this year. Well, it looks like it's going to be a standard statistical screen as we come in for our stop now. There's only one other view, I think, which is the one where you can't see the car, so very limited on views, which has to be said is the same as last year's game. Okay, so we come in for our pit stop and we come out now. Yes, green, green, green. And the only other trouble here is the safety car is right in the line of the car as you come out of the pit, so you've actually got to avoid the safety car. Anyway, once again, yes, you can have a replay, and once again it only does it from your view. And also, unfortunately, you can only drive the cars as the driver's names. You cannot input your own name and drive as yourself. Formula 1 2000 is a racing game in the Formula 1 series of video games. It is also the only game of the series known to be made on a non-Sony console, the Game Boy Color. Drivers appearing on the front cover are Mika Hakkinen of McLaren and Heinz-Harald Frentzen of Jordan. Formula 1 2000 features 17 Grand Prix circuits and also contains the new arcade mode, which had been missing from its predecessor Formula 1 99. This arcade mode seemed more similar in style to Wipeout. Tracks were grouped into location zones with futuristic sounding names, and cars were grouped into series. The player began on the easiest courses with the worst cars before unlocking the more difficult courses and the better cars. Bonus images could be unlocked as an incentive to win racing. Okay, while that was playing, I was just basically showing you the damage model on this year's game, and once again it's severe bullcrap. As you can see, I've just been hit slightly by one of the cars and I've now got severe rear suspension damage, which basically means I'm out of the race. Oh, and the collision detection is bullshit as well. Don't believe me? Watch this.
Look at that! A very slight impact there, no harm done.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Still, at least a safety car still in this year's game. Anyway, this was also one of the first games to try and use interactive commentary. By using sound bites and joining them together between Murray Walker and Martin Brundle, they tried to do a fully immersive commentary from the start to the finish of the race. It worked, sort of. So anyway, the only way you can really get to experience the joys of this game is to turn the damage off, which immediately turns it into an arcade racing game. But at least with no damage, you haven't got to worry about constantly getting hit by the other cars, who are pretty suicidal at best, it has to be said. They are all over the place and they jerk very, very badly when you get up close to them. Okay, so once again, this was a big disappointment in the Formula 1 franchise, but luckily we had the joys of the EA games from Visual Sciences, primarily F1 2000 and F1 Championship Season. So the fact that this game was pretty much the same quality as the last game was pretty much just glossed over, as people returned this game to Electronics Boutique and just carried on playing F1 2000. So as you can see, there's the jerking of the cars as we try to get past. So this has been my review of F1 2000, another massive disappointment from Studio 33, who I don't think really ever got to grips with Formula 1 games. I think they probably should have handed it over to another developer, but they did carry on and do another game, of course, which was F1 2001, and we're just looking at the cars, and unfortunately the cars actually sit right in the middle of the track when their engines have exploded. It's very, very difficult not to actually hit them as you're trying to get past. Of course, this is made even more difficult by the very, very vague handling model which is on offer. Once again, it feels like you're driving a forklift truck and you're steering from the rear of the car, not from the front. So is it worth buying? Well, once again, it's available for about £1. Thanks for watching, everyone. This has been my review of F1 2000. I'll catch you later.